Hi, you guys. It is BJ the blogger, and I am back with another podcast slash YouTube video. If you're new to my podcast or if you're new to my YouTube, then welcome. My name is BJ, and I create content around personal improvement, spiritual alignment, and becoming your higher self ultimately. So today, actually, before I go through that, let me just remind you guys to please like, subscribe, do all of those great things so you don't miss out on new posts. I post weekly for the most part. So yeah. So today we are going to talk about how our decisions impact our life and how all it takes is for you to make one different decision for you to completely change your life. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay. And excuse the blurred background. I have a ton of things that need to be donated, and I can't get my screen moved for some reason. I have a ton of things that need to be donated, and so it's behind me, and I don't want you guys to see that junk. But again, the title of this presentation is called All It Takes is One Different Decision. All right, so let's talk about the sum. I can't, there's number, there it is, okay. So let's talk about the decisions that we make every day. Please understand that we are the sum of all of the decisions that we make. Who we are as a person, like who we are today, we're a sum of the decisions that we made in the past. So through the day, we are constantly faced with making choices. So some of those choices being conscious and some of them being unconscious. And we'll talk about that a little bit more on the next slide. But our habits are more of our unconscious decisions, whereas our routines are more of our conscious decisions. So unconscious meaning things that just happen automatically. You don't really have to think about it before you make that choice, whereas the conscious decisions are choices that you thought about it before you actually decided to make that choice. So every choice that we make today is going to influence who we are in the future and who we are transforming into. So understand that our unconscious decisions, what we talked about a second ago, which are more, could be considered more of our habits, those are choices that are trying to keep us inside of the past. That is a whole premise of you having these unconscious decisions. Your brain is programmed to make the same decision over and over and over again. So if you are continuously making the same decision over and over and over again, then you're going to continue to be the same person that you have basically become today. So again, those are our unconscious decisions. Those are the things that we've already been programmed to do. So the decisions that we're gonna consciously make, the decisions that we're making with thought behind it, that isn't just on autopilot and habitual, those are the decisions we're making that is going to allow for us to create a new future. Of course, as long as you're doing things that are in alignment with who your higher self is. So the act of consistently making the same choice over and over is going to be the enemy to your progress. So if you want to change your future from your past, then you have to do things differently. And it all starts with one decision. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to bridge together who we are today and who we want to be tomorrow. So if we have our present self and then you have your future self on the other side of the bridge, how are we going to bridge those two things together? We're going to bridge them together by making daily choices that are in alignment with who our future self is. Because remember, the choices that you're making those choices are going to create the person and transform you into that person that you want to be. So if you're saying, look, I want to be I want to be small. And I'm going to probably use a lot of examples around losing weight, because me personally, that is a goal that I have for myself. But if I'm saying to myself that I want to lose weight, then I can't make the same decisions now that got me to the place that I am today, to the weight that I am right now. I have to consciously make decisions that are completely different from the decisions that I had made before. And the same thing is like if you're trying to get inside of a relationship, if you want to get into a loving relationship and you're asking yourself, like, why am I constantly choosing these same partners that are abusive and that don't love me the way that I want to be loved? Then a lot of it has to do with the fact that you're making these decisions that are keeping you inside of this loop, which I talk about inside of my online course, which is a karmic loop that you can keep yourself in if you consistently are making the same choice over and over and over again, and the same outcome is happening. That's a karmic loop that you could potentially spiritually be putting yourself in. So what you have to do is make different choices so that you can start a different loop. So how do I start making new choices? So the very first thing is you have to take this very serious and you have to start paying attention. These things are programmed in your brain. Like, this is stuff that is like years and years and years of programming that you've been like, oh, this is okay. I made this choice and I didn't die. I'm all right. I made this choice and I didn't die. So in your brain, your mind is like, okay, this is fine. I'm okay with making this choice. So you have to take making these decisions very seriously, even down to the point of, you know, am I going to pick up my phone right now, or am I not going to pick up my phone right now? Of course, naturally, your body is just like, I'm just going to pick up my phone. But you have to catch yourself before you make that choice and be like, hold on a second. Am I making this choice unconsciously, or am I making this choice consciously? So when you start taking every decision that you're making through the day very serious, and you start paying close attention to what's going on around you, then you're going to be more likely able to make the decision that is in alignment with who your higher self is, versus allowing your body and your mind to just naturally make the decision for you. The next thing is you have to be very patient when you're making decisions. Listen, I'm one of those people that I'm just like, screw it. I'm just going to do whatever. Ain't nobody gonna die. Like, if I say I want to go get some wings, I'm gonna get some wings. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, I've always been that person, and I don't think about the repercussions a lot. I just, just do whatever. And I'm sure a lot of people have had times in their life where they've kind of just done whatever they wanted to do, especially when we're young. We don't understand what are the repercussions and what are going to be the effects of the decisions that I'm making right now. So you're just like doing things based on what's fun, what's going to entertain me. But when you start to slow down and really be patient with yourself, and not just grab the remote as soon as you walk in the door, or not just open your refrigerator and grab the first thing that you intuitively want to grab, or that you have a craving for, you're just like, you know what, I want to eat this, so I'm going to eat it right now. When you start to be more patient with yourself and just stop and say, okay, what am I about to grab out of this refrigerator? Or let's say you're about to pick up the phone and call your ex. When you pick up your phone, stop and say, okay, is this something that I really, really want to do right now? And if it isn't, then how can I be kind to myself to stop myself from doing this, and maybe redivert myself to doing something else? Maybe I need to think through all of the reasons why I told myself I didn't want to do this. Like, you really have to sit down and be patient with yourself and talk to yourself so that you can make the right choice, but you're making it consciously. And then the last piece is be compassionate with yourself when you don't make the right choice. You have to be like, you know what? I ordered wings today, but I'm conscious and I'm aware that I made that choice, so that next time I'm going to be kind to myself and gentle with myself. I'm not going to beat myself up about making the wrong choice. All I'm going to do is say, you know what, Brittany, we noticed that you decided to make this choice based on this situation. Because, like, for example, like me, anytime I'm watching football, I always want to order wings. Like every single time I want to watch football, I want to order wings. That's a trigger for me. And when you start paying attention to what your triggers are, then you're more likely to be able to stop yourself when you notice a trigger is apparent, or you could avoid that trigger completely. So for me, one way I could avoid that trigger of ordering wings is just not watching football, right? Or when I watch football, instead of me waiting for myself to be triggered or waiting for the craving to happen, I just go ahead and go eat a salad and then I go watch football and then I won't be hungry. So all is that to say, I say all that to say, even if you make the wrong decision today, you can be observant of how you made that decision, why you made that decision, so that the next time you come across that situation, you're less likely to make that same choice. So what are we doing, right? We're trying to jumpstart a feedback loop. So a feedback loop is when you make a choice and you start to feel the benefits of that choice, which thus encourages you to continue to make that choice. So for example, if you're somebody that says, I want to make sure that I go to bed at 8 p.m. and it's 7:30 and your boo is about to turn a movie on, right? And you sit there and you're like, okay, I can either say, screw this, screw whatever, goal I had for myself. I'm going to watch this movie because me and babe want to watch a movie. I mean, like, it's no big deal. You can sit there and you're making that choice. And then you say, you know what? Instead of me just saying screw it like I normally would do, I'm going to turn to my boo and be like, you know what? I really want to get to bed at 8 o'clock. Can we watch that movie tomorrow? Or is it okay if we watch the movie on the weekend? I'm sure your boo's going to be like, it's totally fine. And then when you go to bed at 8 o'clock, you wake up the next morning, you're going to feel well rested and you're going to feel excited and you're going to be like, wow, I went to bed at the time I said I was going to go to bed. I feel really good. I want to do this more often. So thus going through that whole decision-making process and waking up and feeling good the next morning is going to encourage you to make that decision again, especially if coming across that situation and the person inside of your life didn't react in a crazy way. You're like, you know what, this is okay. Like, I feel safe here. I feel safe making this decision. Then you're going to want to start making that decision more often, thus creating a feedback loop of you continuing making that decision. So again, once you jumpstart the feedback loop, making that decision again will become easier and easier in the future. All right, so once you start making the correct choices, make sure you're paying attention to the people who are supporting you versus the people who are criticizing you, right? So if you're somebody that you're saying that I want to lose weight and I'm going to start eating healthier, but you have a friend that you always are going to restaurants that you're eating unhealthy food, and then they call you and you're like, hey, can we go to this restaurant? You go to the restaurant, they get a cheeseburger, you get a salad. Are they giving you crap about it, or are they like, you know what, girl, I totally feel you. If you want to lose weight, then I am completely supporting you. I'm going to sit here and eat my burger, but you know what? Like, I'm proud of you. Keep doing what you're doing. Are they reacting to you in a positive way, or are they reacting to you in a way that's like criticizing you? Are they like, girl, just eat the burger. Like, it's not a big deal. You're not big. Like, I think you look fine. Are they making it so that you don't feel safe making that decision? Just like when we were talking about the decision of you going to bed at an earlier time, if your boyfriend or girlfriend is like, hey, this is totally cool, like we can watch the movie over the weekend, it's not a big deal, then you're going to feel safe making that decision again in the future. But if your boyfriend or girlfriend is reacting in a negative way and they're like, what are you talking about? Like, it's not a big deal. We'll get to bed by 9:30. Like, oh, you're acting like a grandma, or I'm just going to watch this movie without you. Like, if they're reacting in a way that makes you feel like, wow, like, I feel like I don't feel comfortable transforming because they're not allowing me the space to do that, then you're going to have to really start paying attention to that and either try to get them to change, be like, look, have a sit down and have a serious conversation with them, or you need to decide who you have room for inside of your life versus people you don't have room for, because you have to remember, you're the star player. You are the main character. So everybody else needs to be falling in line. So if they're not acting appropriately, if they're not supporting you inside of your transition into your higher self, then they're not going to be somebody that can be a part of your future life. Because you have to remember, you making this decision is not a decision that you're going to make just one time. The purpose of this practice is for you to continuously make this decision over and over and over again. So if this person or the people in your life are not supportive of the decision that you're making, then how are you going to be able to make room for them in the future? And then you also have to make sure that everybody is going to be able to operate, what's the word I'm looking for, in tandem as you're making these decisions. So like, let's say that you're somebody that you're like, I want to eat less meat, like I'm really not I want to be a vegetarian, but you are the person that cooks for your entire family. So you're telling them like, look, I ain't making chicken casserole no more. It's broccoli casserole, broccoli or bust. And everybody in the house has an attitude because you're not cooking the way that you used to cook. Then you guys have to meet in the middle somewhere, right? Maybe you cook meals that can be incorporated with meat, but you can just take the meat out and it's not going to be a big deal. Or maybe you're like, look, if I'm cooking, then I'm not going to be cooking with meat. And if you want meat, then you need to just cook the meat yourself, especially if you're inside of a household that has grown people in it. You know what I mean? So there's also room for you guys to meet in the middle. It doesn't have to be very cut and dry, but you just have to make it so that you're making room inside of your life for the people that are going to be a part of your future, so that you can also transform safely into the person that you want to be, and do it in a space, in an environment that is supporting you in the decisions that you're making. The next piece is you want to make sure you check in with yourself and notice how you're feeling. So if you're making this different choice, are you excited? Are you happy? Are you feeling hopeful for the future? That is what I would hope you're feeling. Or are you feeling anxious? Are you feeling fearful? Are you stressed out? Do you feel like you're about to have a panic attack? In these types of things happen when you're going through a really, really tough change, like for example, a breakup or something like that. Then yes, like having these feelings are gonna, making these choices are going to make you feel uncomfortable. So you're going to have to really make sure you check in with yourself, surround yourself with people and things and environments that are going to keep you uplifted, and really check in with yourself and make sure, like, is this a decision that you really, really want to make? Because if it's something that you feel like you can't eat, you can't sleep, you're stressed out, you don't know what's going on, then maybe it'll be a good idea for you to go through this change with a coach, or some type of support system, a therapist, whoever. Or maybe it'd be a good idea for you to slow down and maybe take it smaller steps at a time. So just continue to make sure you're checking in with yourself, because making change is hard. Change is not easy, especially when these are things that have been a part of your life for a really long time. And then the last piece is make sure you're celebrating your accomplishments. I mean, every single time you turn down a burger, you don't have to post it on Facebook or whatever. Like, you don't have to throw a party, but make sure you're acknowledging that this is an accomplishment, even if it's just mentally. You're like, you know what, girl, good job. I'm proud of you. Sometimes you have to be your own cheerleader, which we talk about inside of my program too, is being your own cheerleader and being your own source of encouragement. So make sure that you are celebrating your accomplishments. And then this is just a little tidbit that I do myself, is I keep a reprogramming journal. So remember, when you're making decisions that are completely different from what you have been programmed to do, this is a process of reprogramming your subconsciousness. So that's why I call it a reprogramming journal. So what you basically are keeping track of is you're writing down every single time you make a decision that was different from your usual choices. So just to give you guys some examples, for me, what we talked about earlier, yesterday was Sunday. So I'm recording this on Monday. This will be released on Tuesday. But yesterday was Sunday. Of course, Sunday comes football. and I wanted wings. I woke up from my nap. I was really hungry. I hadn't really ate the entire day. And I texted my boyfriend. I was like, look, I really want some wings. So let's get wings for dinner. And before he came home and we ordered the food, I told him, I was like, you know what? Never mind. I don't want wings. I'm just going to make us some Buddha bowls for dinner. I have some, some chickpeas in here, some mushrooms. I have some kale. And I just made us some Buddha bowls, and that's what we had for dinner. And my life didn't fall apart. I didn't cry at the end of the day. I didn't regret it. I felt totally fine. And so I wrote that down in my journal, and I said, on this date, I wanted to order wings, but instead of ordering wings, I, stayed at home and I ate a Buddha bowl. And it's important to keep track of that thing, because one, like it allows for you to apply a metric to this thing, because reprogramming your mind it's hard to put a number to it. But if you have your journal and you just see the reprogramming decisions that you're making just get longer and longer and longer, then you know that you are really making some progress towards becoming your higher self. So I highly encourage you guys, keep a reprogramming journal. When you write down what the decision that you made that was different, also write down why it was important to you. Like for me, of course, like eating healthier is really important to me. Just because one, I want to lose weight. Two, me personally, and I think this applies to everybody, but I feel like I operate spiritually on a higher frequency when I don't eat meat. So I was proud of myself because I didn't eat any meat. Because I also feel like I feel better. I feel physically better. My brain, I have less brain fog. So that's another positive thing that came from that. But the last thing is I'm saving money. Like instead of me going out to eat, we would have spent like $30, $40 ordering wings. Instead of us doing that, we just ate at home, like food that we already had in the refrigerator. It cost us $0, and we're trying to save money. We have savings goals right now. So those are all of the reasons why making that one decision impacted my life positively. So that's another thing that you can make sure that you add inside of your reprogramming journal. Okay. All right. So as usual, let's talk about how we can take action from this. One, please do not feel like you need to change your entire life overnight. Start with one area of your life. Maybe you focus on one area for an entire week. And then let's say you're focusing on getting more sleep, and that's going to be your focus all week long. So you're going to be consistently making decisions through the day that is going to allow for you to get more sleep at the end of the day. And just focus on that for a week and see how that impacts your life. And then once you start to feel really comfortable and you're like, you know what, I feel comfortable that I can continue to make these decisions, and I can be conscious when I am making decisions that are out of alignment. Because please remember, nobody is perfect, and we do not have an expectation for anyone to be perfect. The 80-20 rule, I am a big fan of, because listen, even though I'm trying to lose weight, Thanksgiving is coming up, and do not act like I ain't about to eat, because I am. But that doesn't mean that it's going to stop me from continuing towards my goals. So don't feel like you have to be perfect. You have an entire lifetime to transform yourself. So don't feel like you have to change everything overnight. Just take it one step at a time. And then the last piece is create a place where you're going to document every time you choose differently. So just figure out where you want to keep your reprogramming journal. You can have like a physical journal, or you can keep it in your Apple Notes. That's what I was doing at first. I just used my Apple Notes and just wrote everything down in there. All right. So of course, at the end of the video, I want to make sure you guys are aware of the resources that you have available to you. My website is bjtheblogger.com. If you're interested in purchasing my higher self course, it is a full, I think 14-week course. If you're doing it one lesson a week, then it's a full course to help you transform into your higher self from point A to point Z. So that is available on my website. You can also book me for a tarot reading or a one-on-one coaching session through my website as well, which is bjtheblogger.com. I have all of my social media posted on there, my Instagram, my Twitter, my Facebook, all of them are BJ the Blogger. And if you are watching this on YouTube and you're actually more interested in listening to these messages through a podcast, then my podcast is available through pretty much every podcast platform. It's called Soul Patterns, and you'll see it. It'll say Soul Patterns with BJ the Blogger. Okay. All right, you guys. So as usual, I will catch you next time. Bye.